Well, baby, you've been on my mind. I think about you all the time. Oh, I want to see your face.
I'm feeling better.
Are you?
Yeah.
I was worried about you.
Well, I was a little stressed this morning.
Yeah? Why is that?
I had a doctor's appointment, and I went to the wrong doctor's office.
Okay. What was your doctor's appointment about?
Oh, you know,
Oh.
the usual. No, I had those injections in my back.
Oh, okay.
And so it was a follow-up for the injections in my back. And so then I went to, they have two offices, and I went to the wrong one. And they're like, oh, you're at the wrong one. So then I had to drive across town to the other one.
Right.
And it was just
Feels stressful. Do you want to do some breath work through deep breath
do we need
cycles?
are we there already?
I mean, we can real quick.
Okay. Let's do that.
You want to?
Cycle me through
Uncross
this.
your ankles.
Uncross the ankles. Okay.
And we can all do this.
Okay.
And just settle your body. If you can stack your shoulders over your hips, the mic might prohibit that.
Okay. Over the hips.
And,
And then what?
just take any tension out of your jaw. Close your eyes when you're ready. And just fill your lungs. Inhale in through the nose. And out through the mouth.
You ass.
Inhale,
Try
in
again.
inhale in through the nose. Feel your lungs expand under your arms. And out through the mouth. That's good. Inhale one more time. And out through the mouth. Settle right here. Once you're done with the big, long exhale, once you're done, settle right here. Return to a normal breath cycle. And then just identify 2 feelings or emotions you have now.
Sad.
Joy. No, this is not so. You're not sad and angry, dude.
Angry.
Stop it. I'm sad. I'm not sad. I'm happy.
Sad and angry.
What else?
Scared. Scared.
No. I'm happy and I'm excited.
Okay. And blink your eyes
And
open.
I feel better.
Oh,
I feel better. You have an incredible lung capacity.
That was major. That really was major.
So without getting too funny, I meditate and I do breath work.
Good.
And I have for the last 2.5 years.
These lights are really bright when you do that and you open your eyes.
Yeah.
I'm not used to that.
Well, let's jump in. Who's our guest today, Brandon?
All right. We got a very special guest today who's already just jumped in. I can tell this is going to be a great
It's gonna
episode
be a good one.
as she's already just jumping in here.
Yes.
Layne, Layne.
That's right.
Layne Bruner.
That's right.
Okay. Layne Bruner is our guest today. She is the founder of, what is the name of your
Wealthy Soul.
Wealthy Soul?
Done a lot of research, I can tell.
I did, but it was a stressful morning
Here we
and
go.
I forget things. Fuck me.
Watch this.
Okay. So Layne Bruner, and I got to tell you, Layne's here local in Austin, Texas.
Yes.
And she's got quite the story. And when we started this podcast, one of my good friends said, you've got to have Layne. Have you heard of Layne? I was like, no, I haven't heard of Layne. And she said, Layne would be perfect for your podcast. And so that's how we got to know Layne. And so we're super excited to have you here today. Thanks for coming.
And Layne, how we start every episode, because you've done your research on our show.
I have.
Pick up your water. She's drinking water. We're drinking Topo Chico.
Topo Chico, the original
That's right. Layne, thank you for sleeping around with Dr. Brandon and Matthew. Let's have a great episode.
Mm-hmm.
So Layne, unlike Brandon, I do research. But in all honesty, Brandon and I had a good talk. And in preparing for this, we wanted to share something with you.
Okay.
We both have the honor of having daughters.
Aww.
And my daughter's getting ready to turn 17. On our podcast, I got to interview Miss Charlotte, who is 7.5.
Yep. Going on 17.
Going on 17.
Jesus.
So having role models and being able to do this podcast with women like yourself means the world to us as dads, but also your journey and your story. This episode, I'm going to be sharing a lot of personal stuff. I talked to my daughter and she said it was okay.
Oh,
Because I know that you have a good story.
thank you.
And I'm just really excited. So this episode is really not sponsored by anything other than fathers of daughters. And our goal has always been with this podcast for people to watch it, listen to it, and just gain one thing from it. And I just have a really good feeling, Layne, that this is going to be a special episode. So I'm just honored to have you here.
That makes me feel amazing.
Well, thank
I
you.
mean it.
Thank you.
It really does.
Thank you. So let's just jump in. How in the heck did you find out about our podcast? I like to kind of start there as far as the invite. And then I want to hear about your story.
Okay. So I have a dear friend named Jen, and she is one of those people that you just trust.
Sure.
Right? Like if she likes it, you like it. If she recommends a friend, you want to maybe spend some time with them.
Yeah.
And she connected us.
Awesome.
And so then I got to watching and understanding when, invited onto a podcast that's called Sleeping Around. I was like, I'm going to need to do a little bit of research on this first.
We get that a lot.
And it passed the test for sure. And so
Good.
I
Awesome.
said yes.
Jen and I grew up together.
Okay.
And she's a dear friend of mine. And like we went to middle school together. Like she's probably one of my oldest friends. And like I said, she kind of jumped in. And as soon as she heard about the goals of this podcast, she was like, you got to talk to Layne. So Layne, you focus, your business is focused on health and wellness, but you take it a whole nother step. And it's not just physical health, and it's not just diet and nutrition.
That's right.
It really involves the mental aspect. And from what I understand, you talk quite a bit about sleep with your clients as well.
Correct.
Yeah.
Clearly. I mean, I think it's one of the foundations of a true health and wellness journey is learning how to sleep well, good sleep hygiene, and everything that comes, the benefits that come from sleeping consistently well, which is not easy for everybody.
No, it's not even easy for us.
Yeah.
I would say.
I mean, one of the big jokes Handsome Dan always gives me, he goes, for a guy who co-hosts a podcast about sleep, is in the sleep business, you never sleep.
You don't?
I get up every morning at 4:00, no matter what. I'm up
Okay.
at 4 a.m. every single morning. So if me and you were going out till 2 a.m, I'm up at 4. If I go to bed at 8:30, I'm up at 4. Regardless, I'm up at 4 every single morning.
That's your clock?
That's my clock. And it's been that way 20 years or more. I've just always been that guy. But enough about me.
Yeah. Enough about you.
Enough about me.
And we'll get to the business because I'm really intrigued about your business and how you help people. And that's the whole goal here. If we can just impact people, we're bettering our community. We're bettering our environment.
Right.
But tell us about yourself. Where are you from?
Yeah.
How'd you get to this point in life?
So born in California,
Okay.
but a military kid. So
Okay.
I have strong foundational roots in military upbringing.
Okay.
Very conservative, disciplined family. That's how I was raised.
What branch?
Navy. And my
Navy.
dad was a fighter pilot
Nice.
Wow.
for 27 years. And
Awesome.
he would command the air fleets on aircraft carriers.
Nice.
Wow.
It's called CAG. He is amazing. My dad.
Yeah.
Amazing. And I mean, last summer rode a 60-mile bike race at 74.
Wow.
He's a total badass.
Yeah. That's
He's
awesome.
a total badass.
Still, but lived all over the U.S.
Okay.
Formative years in Washington, D.C.
Mhm.
And when I got to college, I went to West Virginia University. I'm a mountaineer.
Mountaineer.
Yes, I danced for them all 4 years
Okay.
on their Palm Squad. So I'm a dancer
Mhm.
and a performer.
Mm-hmm.
And
So when you hear John Denver
oh,
and they say West Virginia, they all go
all
crazy.
on.
They
Oh.
always do. I've been to a couple football games there,
Oh, have you?
and it's the home of Pat McAfee.
This is true.
So very, very, very good.
Okay.
I know a little bit about.
All right.
West
Well,
Virginia.
Morgantown, West Virginia is one of the most fun times you will ever have.
That's right.
Hands down.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
And so you were health and fitness way back then, not drinking, not eating fast food. I'm just kidding. Okay, that was college.
So I did live in Spain in college, but that's not where I'm going next. I actually started in college and then when I was a professional dancer, started not doing the right things.
Right.
So you hear of ballerinas who smoke cigarettes and drink Diet Coke,
Mhm.
and that's how they stay fit.
Yeah.
So I didn't smoke cigarettes because I have a heart condition, but I underate and I did all the wrong things, suffered from anorexia.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of bulimia too.
I actually never was bulimic.
Okay.
I've been on the binge side of an
Mhm.
eating disorder
Gotcha.
where I'll just overeat, but I never was bulimic.
Okay.
And I'd work out all the time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So don't eat
Oh.
enough, but work out all the time.
Yeah.
So just creating that huge
Yeah.
caloric deficit
Mhm.
to where my body, when I was 26, dancing professionally for a sports team, actually here in Austin, my body got to 114 pounds.
Wow.
I'm like a solid 135 to 140 right now.
Yeah.
So I was not well.
How tall are you?
5'5".
So what was your BMI at that point?
Oh gosh, I didn't even
I mean, low. Yeah.
Low. I mean,
And-
when you get to about 6%, you lose your period. I never got there.
Okay. What and the pressure for this, or I mean,
Well, didn't they weigh you? My first ex-wife was also a dancer in college and was a dancer, and you had to have weight. You get weighed in, how you did it, how you're measuring. It was crazy.
So I've obviously been in this industry for a while,
Mhm.
when I would go through some auditions, they'd put a piece of masking tape on the ground 12 inches across,
mhm.
and you'd have to put 1 foot on the outside and 1 foot on the other outside, right?
Mhm.
Like the edges. And they would snap a picture of your thighs, not of your face. They didn't ask what was important to you.
Wow.
They were literally measuring the distance between your thighs. So it's real hard not to get
Yeah.
in your head about
Wow.
your weight. And so what happened, and I'm very public about this, is that my value is basically, how do you look in a uniform?
Mhm.
Mhm.
How do you look on camera?
Right.
And how do you perform on stage?
Now, did you see this at West Virginia too, or did you see this more as you got into your professional career?
Definitely older, when I was
Yeah.
older.
Okay.
But I mean, there was always that inkling of you have to look a certain way in
Right.
your uniform. I've never personally struggled with weight as a younger, when I was younger. I've never, I mean, I've had 2 kids, so obviously there's postnatal weight gain or
Yeah.
prenatal weight gain. But I've never been obese or overweight personally.
Yeah.
But it's always been in the back of my mind that I better be thin.
Wow. Now that voice in the back of your mind, whose voice is that?
Coaches. I think, I think it could be, personally, I think if you want to go spiritual, it could be, evil.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, it's your voice.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
It gets to be whatever you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think it's evil.
Mhm.
Well, this
I have distinctive, I'm the same way.
Yeah.
I think the voices could be from past failures, could be a teacher I had or a coach I had. That's why I asked that question. Ultimately, I had to get to a point in my life where I was like, well, that's just me, right? Or my faith. But what am I telling myself?
Yeah.
How am I building myself? And you do a very good job of that in your current career, but we want to stay back a little bit.
Well,
when
I
you're
think,
dancing.
family sometimes, and I don't know if your family played a role in this as well. Do you have any older siblings, older sisters, your mom,
I'm an only child.
Okay.
But I mean, I have an amazing mom too. My parents are still married,
yeah.
Awesome.
solid. However, the message was perpetuated by I think from her mom to her and then to me. And I have been, if you follow me, I make a conscious effort to stop that conversation. I think it's really important that we value ourselves beyond the physical.
Well, no, absolutely. I think so too. It's interesting because you have this conversation sometimes, and my mom. I noticed this with my grandma and my mom. Like my grandma will see my mom, and usually my grandma's like 84 now or something. No,
She's usually 84.
No, she is now. But usually when she sees my mom for the first time after a few months, after a year, however long it is, because they live in different states, one of the first comments she always makes will be about how she's looking,
Yes.
about what you put on some weight, or and it's kind of like, and I don't know if it's like, oh, grandmas are just like that, but the other side of that is I don't think you realize how that feels or what that does, or that kind of thing. I've been working. I'm a words of affirmation person, so
Same.
I love that's my love language. And so when I see things that I like, I tend to be very, when I see people at work, oh, I like your dress today. I like your belt today.
Yep.
So I see it, I observe it, and I just say it. It's like a filterless kind of a thing for me. And, I've been talking to, Jenny a little bit about this, and she's like, I like that you compliment me, but I don't want all of your love for me to be all about how I look. And as I get older, this is, and I'm kind of like, oh, I got to try and watch that.
Yeah. I've had the fortunate to have a great friendship with Kelly, my first ex-wife, and our daughter. And one of the things that I got out of the pattern of when she was younger is telling her how pretty she is, how cute she is. I would talk about her strength.
Yeah.
I would talk about her courage. I would talk about these things that were innate.
Yeah.
And it was through an amazing therapist that helped me see this instead of just valuing those things. I love catching people doing right as well. I would say I'm either words of affirmation or gifts of service, and then physical touch probably is my love languages. But I think you're right. And to the point, how we all grow up, right, is so important. My mom was the biggest hippie, coolest, most amazing person in my life, the great role model, a diagnostician. But anytime she saw me, it was either you've gained weight or you're too skinny.
Yeah.
And I come from a large family, right? But, and again, I don't think it was something she consciously was trying to hurt me, but I think that shaped
But
me.
you internalize it.
Absolutely.
And then that might
Even
be
subconsciously.
one of the voices.
Yeah.
So my question, I guess, is from an industry standpoint, we're talking about these pressures. Where do you think we're at now compared to
Ooh, good point.
20 years ago? Because
do you think we're still taking pictures of thighs now?
Yeah, because that's
yes, they are.
Yeah,
I
because
feel certain.
like that's the thing. Like that's what I'm scared about. My daughter's 7. She's in dance. She likes to do the hip hop, and she wants to do gymnastics. She's talking about
You
maybe
sounded
I want to
old
be
when you said that. She likes to do the hip hop.
the hip hop.
You did say the. Whenever you put the in front of something.
I am pretty fucking old. So
That was
that's
good.
Okay.
Let's do the hip hop.
Hip hop. The hip hop dance class is what I should have said.
Just messing with you.
But either way, she's like, maybe I want to be a cheerleader,
Right.
Gymnastics. And in the back of my head, I'm like, man, I want to support her and I want her to do these things, and she's built for it.
Mm-hmm.
But then in the back of my head, I'm like, that industry still going to be that? What do I have to fight as a parent if my daughter's going to do that?
So
no pressure, Layne. Go.
I know I want to process that question. I think it's gonna still be there on a professional level because there is an expectation created by our culture for our professional cheerleaders to look a certain way.
Right.
They're typecast. I tried out for the Cowboys. I got to top 100 out of 1,000 or whatever it was. And they weren't necessarily was it because I wasn't pretty enough? Was it because my thighs were too big? Like, what was the reason I didn't make it? I don't know. I'll never know. But they typecast those roles, right? On a more, for her to be 7 and all the way up through high school, I think it will. Is she a small-bodied person?
Yeah.
So it's easier for small-bodied people.
Yeah.
It just is because that pressure is not there. I think it's harder for young dancers who, do genetically come from a bigger body, a bigger bodied family. Yeah. And so, I think what's important is teaching them how to eat for their bodies, even young girls.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong with teaching the difference between a carbohydrate, a protein, what fat does. I think there's nothing wrong with educating our kids, not because they shouldn't be overweight, but because they should know how to eat.
Yeah. And I think that's a really good point. I just wonder though, if that pressure's still there, because you and I both know there's people that are skinny as skinny can be, thin as thin can be, small bodied people that still feel in their head like they have to do more.
Yeah,
like it's still too much. And that's what
Me too.
I was one of them. I think,
really.
I think it starts at home. And I think it starts with helping them to figure out and it's hard to figure out your identity when you're 7 through 18, right? Like that's not realistic. But I think it's the positive messaging that we as parents give and enforce to our children. I think that's really important to do.
So let's go even bigger picture. And I'm sorry, I know I'm just spouting off here.
No.
How do we, and I'm not even going to guess that we have these answers or we're going to solve this problem here. And I know this is the world seems like they care about this. And I guess that's what bothers me. It's like people are saying this matters. People are saying we need to be more accepting of bigger bodies. And, we're starting to see some Victoria's Secret models and we're taking away that and we're getting some different types of modeling and things like that. And
even the mannequins now are different.
That's right.
Yeah. So I think that we're trying to do this as a society. at least parts of society are trying to say enough is enough, but we know that this subculture still exists. So what's the answer on a global scale, on this bigger picture scale of how do we change this culture, this societal impact, the typecasting, if you will? Or is it something that's just never going to change? It is what it is.
So I believe it's not healthy to be obese.
Absolutely. I'm with you.
And so it's hard for me to say that that is a healthy body type when
Thank you.
know certainly
Thank you.
that obesity is not healthy. I don't need to say that. Everybody knows that, even if you are
Perfect.
obese or not. So, but you can still be a larger bodied person and have a body composition that is healthy for your height, for your age, for your weight. So I think it's good that we're showing different sizes.
Yeah.
I love Athleta. I use their stuff. I wear their stuff all the time. They have
Great brand.
different shaped mannequins, as you
Great brand.
were explaining. I think it's going to take a whole lot longer
Yeah.
for it to become accepted that a size 0 or 2 or extra small
Yeah.
shouldn't be the norm.
Yeah. But we don't necessarily want to be on the other spectrum of that either.
No.
And I like that because I think that's kind of,
Right.
I don't want to encourage obesity. That's not healthy. This is health and wellness. All right. So we got derailed there and I'm sorry to take us off rail, but let's go back. So West Virginia, dancer,
Yes.
professional dancer.
Yes. Here in Austin. So after West Virginia to
Hold on one second. Handsome Dan, a professional dancer doesn't mean.
That's not the poll.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to be very clear.
Very good.
Although some of those
Exactly.
people are very professional.
Right. But we're talking different. Cool. Okay.
Good to know.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Good to know.
Thank you for clarifying that.
He's young. He's young.
I've never been there either. Sorry to cut you off. I've never been to a strip club.
Really?
Yeah. No.
Okay.
They make me sad.
Oh, it is.
How do they make you sad
They
if
make
you've
you
never
sad.
been there?
Well, I guess I wouldn't know,
The
but
concept
the
makes you
idea
sad.
makes me sad.
You
yeah.
feel sad for the women.
Oh, some of those women are very happy.
I'm sure they are. They have
The
lots
A
of-
team, there's like an A
lots of-
team. I think the A team is happy.
I really don't know. I don't frequent strip clubs either.
I honestly didn't mean for us to go down this rabbit hole.
You did this.
Okay.
I apologize. Please go ahead.
Moved back from West Virginia University, moved back to my hometown. I'm from Fairfax County, Virginia. It's
Mhm.
actually called Burke is the town.
Okay.
And I was there for a hot second before I was like, I can't do this. So then I moved to Dallas. I packed a U-Haul, me and a cat. I had a cat at the time. And we moved to Dallas alone.
Mm-hmm.
And I found this place called Greenville Avenue. And I lived in this place called The Village.
Yes.
Anybody know this?
Yes, I do.
I don't frequent Dallas.
And I had a freaking blast.
Yeah, Dallas is good. It's a good
Dallas
time.
was really good for me. And then through a relationship, I got to Austin. So
And who were you dancing for here?
do you know the Arena Football League?
Yeah. The I can't remember.
Austin Wranglers.
The Wranglers, yeah.
Yeah, that's who I
Yeah.
danced for here.
Yeah, awesome.
It was fun.
I think we had Chance Mock played for them
That's
for,
right.
for a while.
That's correct.
Yeah. He was one of my teammates back in college.
Oh, did you play
Brandon-
ball?
Yeah,
I
he
did.
played football for the University of Texas.
Oh,
Yep.
well, very good.
So during that period of time, you were going through personally this. You mentioned you weren't eating enough. You
Oh,
weren't
yes.
necessarily doing the right things to take care of your
Oh,
body.
yes.
Was that just through the whole period? Was there a period of time where all of a sudden you were like, okay, I'm changing, or did that not come to light?
I was going to say, what was the catalyst?
So if you have an eating disorder, you are lacking control and you use food as your source of control.
Okay.
Like everything else is gone and you're spinning, and that's what you use to control things. It's not really about it's really, that's what it is. It's about
Yeah.
control. And I was out of control, getting through a really rough relationship, using food to control things again. And I got out of it through really prayer.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
I did not do recovery. I've never done recovery. I mean, I could probably still benefit from it today. And it's not that I don't believe in it.
Right.
I've used therapy and
Mhm.
prayer
Mhm.
for healing.
Yeah.
I think having anybody to talk to is a process. So true, you probably didn't go to a 12-step group,
That's right.
but having someone to talk to kind of guide you through. eating disorders are really unique, right? We talked about that you don't have to necessarily be bulimic, right?
Okay.
But I think watching my daughter go through this social media era at her age has been the perfect storm. I make a joke often, and I'm going to kind of cuss, so heads up, that I thank God every day that I didn't have an iPhone, or I'd have probably 4,226 penis pics floating in the periphery or the iCloud, right?
You're
I was
into
a
that?
stupid kid.
You like penis pics?
Well, I was
Yeah.
a stupid kid.
Well, he does now.
No, I was a stupid kid. And I think that having this control, whether it be pornography, whether it be social, everybody's judging.
Yeah.
And even the rate of pornography addiction among 13 and 14-year-old boys and girls
Too now. Yeah.
it is so amazing. So that also goes to the body image. And, my daughter has been in situations where there are true mean girls. You're judged solely on your Snapchat, your social media. And just to see that, and me not having a clue of what that would have been like, or what it is like when I was a kid, is a whole different pressure. And I'm assuming, I don't guess women's age.
I'm 42.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
We don't have to do that.
Ding. But
Simple like to ask.
you didn't have that either
That's
during
right.
the
Thank
period
God.
of time. So I make that joke about the penises, but I'm saying that just everything's out there. Even our podcast, as soon as it gets out, it's out there. So everything that we say is out there. For a little girl or girls with body shaming issues, it's 10 times, 100 times. Do you see any clients in your current role that are that age? They're younger.
I have on occasion.
Okay,
And if
because
the
I did notice you
parents-
see.
Yes.
Okay,
If the parent asks and is interested in it, obviously I don't treat them the same way I treat an adult.
sure.
It's a different program. It's a different set of kind of instruction or education.
Mhm.
But I'm going to tell you, Mean Girl still happens at 42.
Really?
Yes.
Well, Brandon picks
Oh,
on me a lot.
yes.
He does. He picks on me a lot.
I don't even mean girls or mean parents or whatever. Like, I have never, like, this whole parenting thing. How old are your kids?
Almost 14 and 11.
Okay, you're
boys.
You're two boys, 14, 11. You're a little ahead of me. I got an 11-year-old boy and a 7-year-old daughter. But what I found was when we started going like to elementary school, you go to elementary school drop off, and it seems like there's like the cool moms and then the not cool parents, which I was in the not cool parent group. And so it's
I can see that.
the cool moms didn't really like, well, what are you doing bringing your kid here? Like, kind of a thing.
Right.
It's real.
It's real, right?
It's real.
Yeah. Or like the kids go to a birthday party.
Mhm.
My least favorite thing to do in the world is go to a fucking birthday party.
Or when
for
they
a
don't get
4-year-old.
invited to a big
Or-
birthday party.
well,
That's
they-
hard.
Yeah. Yeah. The kids don't like not getting invited. But what's harder for me is the kid gets invited and I don't want to freaking go
Yeah.
because I don't want to go deal with the parents that are just
So
going
it's
to
about
like,
him.
Well, yeah,
It's
it's
about
always
him.
about me.
Okay.
You don't want to go make a small talk with people that you could care less about.
Well, that,
connecting to.
yeah, that, but also just like sometimes they're just like they already have their little group of parents that hang out or whatever, and I'm not really in the groups because I don't have groups.
So whenever you're dealing with, you said maybe a handful, but the damage has been done by the time you see them as adults or when they're part of your program. That's got to play a role. I think any of our upbringing or nurturing always comes to light in the coaching that you do, whether it be the view of themselves or the view of others. So I definitely want to jump in to kind of your process now
Okay.
and how you got to the place you're at now.
I got here because of two things. One, my disordered eating background and understanding, finally doing the work and studying and getting certified and getting the education on how to do it properly.
Mm-hmm.
That is one piece. The second piece, and we haven't even talked about my heart condition, which I know you
I
want to.
told you I was going to talk about that. It's a great story.
I have a congenital heart defect. Was born with 2 holes in my heart,
Mm-hmm.
bottom chamber, top chamber. My mitral valve leaked. I've had 3 open heart surgeries. I don't know that you know that piece.
I did
Wow.
not. I did not.
Before the age of 8 years old.
Oh, wow.
And then, and because of that, scar tissue forms in your heart.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I've been followed annually by a cardiologist since I was, a baby. And so what happens is scar tissue forms, and that can create a barrier for the electrical currents of your heart.
Mm-hmm.
And one can have cardiac arrest, not a heart attack.
Big difference.
A heart attack
Yep.
is valve related.
Mm-hmm.
Blockage, you hear about trans fats and
Yep.
separate issue. Cardiac arrest is electrical.
Mhm.
So I was teaching a fitness class, a heated yoga sculpting class at a big box gym in
Mhm.
South Austin. And I started having a panic attack at the end of my class. And I suffer from anxiety. Y'all, I'm a mess.
It's okay. Jump on the bus. We'll take you.
So in the peak of the class, at the cardio peak of the class, I sat everybody down on the mat because I needed to sit down and start breath work, which is what we did before we started, right?
Yep.
Which I use all the time
Mhm.
because I have anxiety and I'm not medicated for it. So I use breath work and exercise. Anyway, I get down, I get on the mat, I cross my legs, I start my breath work, and I'm like, shit, my heart rate's not coming down. It's not slowing down. And so I had another instructor who was a friend in the room taking my class. And I said, Sarah, please, will you come finish this? You've got, 15 minutes of Tabata left and we're done. And I go into the hall and a member follows me. And there I am at 280 beats per minute
That is
for
crazy.
30 minutes.
That's crazy.
In
Wow.
ventricular tachycardia.
Yeah.
crazy.
Holy.
And on the outside,
30 minutes
you
of
are in
VTAC?
shape.
30 minutes.
You're teaching
Okay.
hot yoga. You're probably the best shape of your life,
That's
but
right.
this is going on.
So I tell them that I need to have help because I can't control it.
Yeah.
And I use the Apple Watch, which is pretty reliable, especially if it's tight on there. And it was very all over the place in terms of,
And so you're seeing this on your Apple Watch.
Yes.
200. If I ever
I
saw
did-
280, I'd freak the fuck
I
out.
did not see 280.
Okay.
I did not, it never registered.
Yeah.
So the EMS gets there and,
Oh, I didn't know if they had their own paddles there.
Nope.
Like defibrillator. Okay.
well, they do,
Okay.
but they didn't know to shock me because I was awake and talking.
Yeah.
So if I had passed out, that's simple, right?
Right.
But the interesting thing is that if you pass out, you're not perfusing blood. You don't have oxygenated blood going to the brain. You start losing brain function, and it's
Mhm.
about 10% for every minute that you're
Wow.
unconscious.
Okay.
Yeah. That goes back to like CPR training and,
Right.
how quickly you need to get people because of.
So EMS comes.
They come and they're like talking to me,
Mhm.
and they decide that they have to shock me to get the rhythm back into some order.
Mhm.
Yep.
And so they cut my Lulu bra off,
Oh, no.
my favorite,
Oh, no.
Mm.
but they had to. And it was two women, and they were above me, and they're angels in my mind. I found them.
Yeah.
I found them at their fire station. I thanked them. I sat there and cried with them. And
cool.
they put Versed in my shoulder, which
Yep.
is like a margarita
Yep.
or two.
Yep.
And then they shocked me once, and then they shocked me again. And then
Ooh.
they put me on a stretcher, and they took me to the hospital for 4 days, where I went underwent tons of testing.
Yeah. After the cardio version, second shock, I'm assuming you got back into normal
Yes.
rhythm. Okay. Good.
Yep.
So back at the hospital,
Yep.
anything further?
Yeah.
Testing.
Oh yeah,
testing.
they did
I'm sure all diagnostic. yeah.
electrophysiology testing, EP
Okay.
testing,
EKG. put you
all
on
of
that.
it.
Mhm.
EKG, yes.
Stress test.
All of no, they didn't put me on anything.
Okay.
They didn't put me on a treadmill or anything. They got 90% of it. They figured out 90% of it through something called ablation.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And then after that, there was 10% remaining. And so they put in me a ICD.
Oh,
You can't see it,
yeah.
but it's there.
That's the internal defibrillator. So
Yes.
if you ever lose, if you ever go out of rhythm again, that'll automatically shock you into rhythm.
And see, what I haven't shared with you yet is that I like to do adventure retreats. I lead adventure retreats for women and men.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be in Costa Rica on February 10th through 14th. And if I am ziplining and, something goes down,
You've got that.
I've got
Yeah.
an angel with me at all times.
So they did an ablation also, though. They did a cardiac ablation
Yes.
procedure.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
That was day 2 or day 3 of the testing. Now, I left the hospital without the ICD because they wanted because I'm so small bodied, they wanted a plastic surgeon to put it in. So it didn't look like, I mean, you've seen some of these things. They look like giant boxes under the people's skin.
Yeah.
They didn't want to do that for me. They wanted it to look like it's not there.
Holy cow. And when was this? How long ago was this?
This was a year ago. It was
A year
January.
ago.
Isn't this
16th.
great? I love this. I
Man.
love that.
Yeah.
So obviously you've got that. When did,
I do.
that's crazy.
That is.
Because you wouldn't guess, right? By looking at me, you're just like,
No.
eh.
Yeah. Yeah. But you hear this all the time. You've got like professional athletes sometimes that just keel over after practice one day, and then they've just never been tested. They never knew they had a congenital heart defect, some of them.
Yep.
And then that's when they find out, is when it's stressed too much and they lose it. When did Wealthy Soul come to be?
There you go.
So Wealthy Soul came to be when I was leading a teenage girl, female retreat for our church. And I was riding up the ski lift. We were in Winter Park in the spring. I was riding up the ski lift with this Bowie cheerleader. Bowie's a high school in this area in Austin. And she said, Layne, how do I honor God and stay in the fitness and wellness industry? And from that conversation, the Instagram page was born, Wealthy Soul. And it was just really for motivation, just to motivate women and girls to live better. And then somebody asked me if I would coach them. And it's actually the wife of my photographer. And I said yes. And I wrote a program, and it worked. And it kept working and working and working.
And how many years was that? I love your smile when you're talking about that. That's awesome.
I feel like it is. I'm so absolutely on purpose for why I'm here. I feel like I'm so on purpose. 5 years ago.
Okay. They say that if you do something you love, it's not work.
That's right. Oh, I
Right.
feel that.
And just when you tell the story, that's why I said about your smile, it's got to be fulfilling. Here's a hard question I'm going to ask you.
I'm ready.
Because I often ask myself this.
Okay.
My goal of 2021 was to serve, right?
Love it.
2022 is more gratitude. But I found out towards kind of the end of 2021 that by serving others, I was getting more fed. So was it a selfish of me? What was the motivation behind it? And then finally I got to the point, someone that holds me accountable was like, it doesn't matter if it feels good and you're still helping. So my question to you is it the chicken or the egg with you? Is it because you're helping these ladies or people in general? Is that the calling that makes you feel so good? Or is it because, does that make sense?
Yes, it makes total sense.
It's a tough question. I know.
I love to serve.
Yep.
I mean, that is a core. That to me, it's core to what I feel like I'm here to do. It really is about the win for the client.
Okay.
It really is about that, and then I get to reap the benefit of their success.
Right.
And I don't take credit for it. I think they do all the work. I provide the education and the guidance for it, or my team does. But the real joy is when they hit these goals.
Right.
And you asked me about my process, and I'll tell you, before I even work with someone, I qualify them. I make sure it's a good fit, because I'm asking them to step into a lot of work, a lot of intense work. For 8 weeks is the beginning of our programming. It's an 8-week program. And we go through some vision work in our initial call, where they are seeing themselves in 8 weeks from today after being successful in program with Wealthy Soul. And they tell me what they have achieved through this vision practice.
Okay.
And when they tell me what that they have achieved, that then becomes their goals.
Right.
Right. And so I'm constantly going back to, have we hit this? Have we have we done the things that you want to do? And they are not weight related.
Yeah.
Some people don't even put a weight on there.
Are all of them, could they be tangible, or are they subjective, or both?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Both. One of my girls said she wants to be able to zip line in Belize on a cruise with her daughter. I started with her in August of last year, and she's on the cruise right now.
Oh, nice.
So it's, to me, That's the joy.
Can I ask something kind of personal?
Sure.
And you don't have to answer it. Was it her fear of heights? Was it a weight thing? What about that zip line made it her goal?
She didn't tell me exactly what it was, but I would assume it's body. It was body mass.
Okay, I didn't know.
And
I hate heights. So I used to be a ropes course leader, believe it or not, the scaredy cat. And I had to be trained on it because I too was a therapist, a wilderness therapist working with teenagers, worked at an amazing camp, salesmanship club, youth camp, where we took first time offenders from Dallas.
Really?
15 years old. We lived out in the woods 5 days a week, 24 hours a day, no electricity. So I had to be certified at this. So I can remember getting my certification on these towers and just to conquer that, because, you know, I have these kids watching me and I'm shaking and doing all that. But it then led to Adventures Unlimited in Florida. There's these awesome ropes course places. I'm still, to this day, would still be scared to do it. But the motivation to do it was to conquer that fear. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So this person, that's why I asked that question, was the buildup for her to go, man, I just want to be able to do this, whether it's weight related or not. Was it her to say, I want to do this for my daughter? I want to do this for me? Is it a weight thing? Is it a fear thing?
She had a number of goals that were outside of just the trip.
Right.
That were, you know, that she would have been able to achieve if she felt more self-confident. So
wait, I got a perfect example. If I enter Brandon into your 8-week program, could you help him get a personality? A likable personality.
if he's
a
willing.
sense of humor.
If he's willing.
Okay. Because we need to, I'm going to speak for Jenny now.
Oh, geez.
I think that would go way, it would help
your
him
wife?
so much.
My significant other.
Oh, got it.
I'm kidding.
Jenny
you have
would-
a great
You think Jenny would like me better with a personality?
I'm not going to say that.
She likes me
I'm-
pretty nice right now.
She likes you pretty nice.
Pretty nice.
She likes you pretty nice.
You know, you mentioned willing. Can I tell a story about willing
I
right
would
now?
love it.
I don't know if you'll appreciate this story or not, but you might appreciate this story.
Okay, let's do it.
My partner and I, my business partner, he jokes.
Max, he's
Max,
great. Dude.
he's a
Great.
good dude. But anytime we go out in public, I say, this is my partner, Max. He's just like, business partner. Like, he's very quick to,
He doesn't feel super secure.
I think that I got him a t-shirt the other year for his birthday.
Oh,
It says,
are we really going to do
it
this?
says power bottom. He never wears it.
It's weird.
Yeah. Every time we go to a hotel and we share a room, which like is fairly often because we travel for work. And now we're in a place where it's like, okay, we get our own rooms, but we used to always try and save money and to share a room. And they'd be like, okay, I have you in 2 queens or whatever. And I'd be like, oh, really? Like, you don't have a king? And it's going to be hard to cuddle. And the guy checking us in will be like, not sure it always gets kind of awkward.
Well,
and then I just look at Max and I go, don't worry, honey, we'll just push them together.
I think you're saying this just to embarrass
and
Max.
Max is always just like, just give us the keys. We got it. Just give us the keys. So anyways, willing.
There you go.
We opened up our dental practice up in Cedar Park in 2013. And we have no idea what the hell we're doing in terms of running a business. I have another dental practice. So we're early entrepreneurs. And we got to hire people to fill this spot. And so we were interviewing people. And this one young woman comes in to interview for us. And she's fairly attractive. And we're talking about, okay, what's your schedule? What can you work? What's your experience? What's your history? Blah, 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 blah. And we've got the old interview questions. And at some point in time, we're like, okay, so if you had to describe yourself in, one word, what would it be? And she kind of looks at us and she goes, willing. And Max and I just both look at each other. We're like, and in our heads, we're both thinking, willing to do what?
That's a genius. A shirt.
Yeah. So anyway,
Willing.
That's my willing story.
I love that.
It's actually not a bad. It's not actually not a bad thing to say.
It's
Yeah.
a great answer.
Willing to, yeah.
Yeah. But
You're a couple
Yeah.
dudes that receive that differently.
totally,
I
probably.
love
it was
the
probably
fact.
how-
Okay, I'm going to
probably how
say
we
this out
received it, not
loud.
how she. But the way she looked at us when she said
Hold
it
on.
Okay, well there you
was
go.
a little.
I got to say something about Layne. So doing my research, and I reached out to you on Instagram, and I said, oh my gosh, I'm so excited for you to come on the podcast. And this just made me laugh. I think I even wrote it in our text message. You said, can't wait to meet you 2 dudes. So I have a history with this word, but it's so funny. Like, there is a certain age range where you could say dudes and it's cool. Like
Yeah.
it's like, and I was like, man, that's awesome. She said she's going to meet us two dudes. Your generation.
Am I wrong? Are you not two dudes?
Oh, we're
We
two
are.
dudes.
We're way.
Totally.
We're way.
Totally two
You
dudes.
probably watched some of the podcasts.
I saw it.
We're very duty.
That should probably be the name of the podcast.
Two dudes.
Two dudes.
Two dudes in shorts.
Yeah, we've had many comments. Too short shorts.
It actually kind of looks like you're not wearing shorts right now.
Well, that's
When you-
that's
when
the
you-
plan.
When you got it like this, you're naked as far as I know.
Well, let's not be naked.
Oh, I'm self-conscious. So, Layne,
No,
I'm sorry to divert there.
No, it's a great. No, the willing. That was
it
great.
sounds like your business started off with this idea of service and fitness, but has melded into an entirely different thing, which is really just life coaching.
Well, hey, I want to interrupt, and I'm not saying you don't listen. And tell us which one is more on point. I agree with that, but it was very faith and God centered.
Well,
When
faith,
she had that.
faith, God-centered,
Right.
service,
Yep. Mm-hmm.
serve God,
Yep.
and fitness
Yep.
to just kind of this idea of life coaching.
It's become that, I think, in a way, for sure. I
Yeah.
will tell you that I don't believe that anybody can be healthy if they don't have a healthy mind, or they're not continually working on improving
There you
their
go.
mindset. Let me
Mhm.
say that.
Yeah.
Because I have personally a history of, mental health with anxiety.
Yeah.
Though it's a practice, a consistent practice for me to stay grounded.
Yeah.
3 hours this morning I spent on staying grounded in my mind. So you're asking me which one. I mean, I think it's both.
Yeah.
I think it started from my faith, though people don't have to be Christian or have any belief set to come
Sure.
into coaching with us.
Right.
They're going to be taught how to set a mindset practice. They're going to be taught how to practice what I call soul work. And for me, that is meditation, that is prayer, that is journaling. That's what my soul work looks like, but it may just be hiking for somebody else.
Mhm.
Or it may be spending time with people that lift them up versus tear them down. They're going to be taught about proper nutrition for their body. So we work with doctors, 3 doctors. We do blood testing, urinalysis for our clients.
Yeah.
We actually look at their organ function. We actually look and see what mineral and vitamin deficits are present.
Perfect.
We teach them how to eat for that.
Mm-hmm.
We teach them how to go to the grocery store and buy whole foods and eat whole foods, because we believe that, foundationally, I believe if God created it, it's got purpose in our bodies.
Mhm.
I do believe that. But
Cannabis.
I don't, what?
Cannabis.
Yep.
I mean, yeah.
So here's a question. Obviously, you know that our podcast is called Sleeping Around. It's not because we're that kind of dudes.
Right. I know that now.
Well, thank you. Where does sleep play into this, and how can we help promote what you do and sleep for your patients? Oh, not patients. Sorry, for your clients. Do you call them clients?
Clients. That's right.
Okay.
You can't, if you're coming to me for weight loss, you cannot lose weight if you don't have a good sleep practice.
Right.
Cannot. And I'm talking about, like, folks are coming in with 5 hours or less of sleep. That has to drastically change for them to change their bodies. Period. Has to.
Mm-hmm.
7 to 8 hours. And I went to bed at 8:30 last night. That football game. Did you guys watch that football game last night?
no.
Anyway,
Blowout.
I was like, I'm going to bed.
Who played?
Well, I call him the JJ Watts.
Yes.
He's
Played the LA Rams, and Cardinals got beat pretty bad.
Oh.
My old quarterback at OU didn't play too good either.
No.
No.
Sorry about that.
It's okay.
So 8:39, I was in bed, and I just feel like sleep is.
How are you guys measuring it? Is that
So
a fair
we
question?
use a tracking app. We use a
Yeah.
tracking app that syncs to Apple devices or Garmin's or whatever
Okay.
smart device they wear.
Mhm.
They can manually enter, or it can just be tracked through what they wear when they sleep.
Do you ask them about sleep apnea?
I do, yeah.
Do you test them for sleep apnea?
I do not.
Do you consider that? Do you
Stop
ever-
bang. That'd
Yeah.
be easy. I could give her a
Yeah.
list of questions, 8 questions to ask.
No,
Simple.
I would love to learn.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's interesting. We see patient after patient after patient that comes in and they've been doing the right things. They've been going to the gym. They've been talking to the nutritionist. They've been trying to lose the weight, and they just haven't been able to cut the weight, even though they're working out, doing the things, and they're in bed for 8 hours a night, but they have sleep apnea, and they haven't been treating their sleep apnea. And it's like the minute they start treating their sleep apnea and they're wearing their CPAP machine, they're wearing their oral device, all of a sudden everything starts filtering in. So it's not just about the time in bed necessarily as the quality of the time that you're in bed as well.
I agree.
Yeah. So
I just didn't know if it was part of your process.
Yeah.
So it sounds like they have a tracking app that plays a part, whether they journal it, whether they have communicate it with you, how am I sleeping? But like I said, there's certain things, man, Brandon's right here in Austin, even just a questionnaire, just to add that to your arsenal would be great. To just
I
say,
ask him about it, but it's not, I mean, I don't spend a lot of time I spend more time on family history
Sure.
and how they were fed as children.
Mhm.
I spend more time there than I do on sleep. Sleep
Yeah.
is maybe, I should spend more time on that. So
no,
that's
no.
good.
And I'm not, no, your business practice is yours. What kind of how I set this up was just what role does it play
Mhm.
and how can we be helpful if we could? If it's going great, I think, we had talked about on a different podcast, bariatric surgery
Mhm.
and how important that role played. Think about it. They're having this major surgery. They're going to lose a tremendous amount of weight. It's a high percentage of them quit using their CPAP years ago. Maybe an oral device is something that they would wear.
Mhm.
So something like this, if you have that patient who is doing very well and they plateau, what if that
Mhm.
plateau for the way they think, we know that not sleeping well messes with that. It messes with anxiety, depression,
Energy level all day.
energy
I
level.
mean,
So
definitely.
just something like that. I
Yeah.
just was
Yeah.
it's kind of what we do. And so I was just asking about it. By no means, it sounds like what you're doing.
I'm being a little selfish about it. I'd like to be a resource for
Okay.
your patients or clients if they do have sleep apnea or they're not treating their sleep apnea.
Okay.
I'd love to help them and help you help them.
Great.
Yeah, because I can imagine if
Yeah.
every one of your clients got put on a home sleep testing, every one of them got put on a monitor whenever they came to you and tested how well they slept at the very beginning of your 8 weeks or however long it is. And then at the end, they would see such improvement. Of
I
how
would
they're
agree with
sleeping.
that.
Yeah.
And
and
that's a simple process.
And I know people that have that are working out more and,
Mhm.
and eating better typically sleep better.
Yep.
I wanted to ask you said you did the blood testing.
Mhm.
What's the number one deficit?
Vitamin D.
Yeah.
That is,
What are you trying to get people's vitamin D levels to?
I personally
Or
am
the
not
doctor.
responsible
Yeah.
for that piece of it. So they do supplement their vitamin D.
Yeah.
Vitamin D is the number one thing.
Yeah. I see that so much too. And that's a huge deal for sleep also.
do y'all find it odd? And I'll just ask this generally. We're all around the same age. I'm much older.
You're pretty old.
I know.
Like
But
fucking old.
isn't there a huge difference? Like when we were younger, we were outside more. Is that why vitamin D deficiency is so common now?
Well, I think it's yes.
Okay.
That. And I think it's skin cancer. So when people are lathering up with
Syrup?
SPF.
that's what it is.
Sorry.
What is that? Sunscreen.
Sorry.
Sunscreen. Syrup.
Sorry.
Canada.
The old conversation.
Yeah.
It's the
So-
old you.
We all have our
Oh.
thing, you know?
So when you're lathering up with sunscreen,
But
you're covering up your exposure. So you do get, obviously you still get sun exposure. You still
Right.
have the production of melanin and that kind of thing.
Right.
But it covers up your big responders for vitamin D production.
I say 20 minutes of unprotected
Mhm.
outdoor just sun
Yeah.
daily. It's scary for people though, especially with skin cancer. That's a scary
Right.
statement
well, even
for me to make.
I learned something with Brandon. Take off my sunglasses.
Mhm.
Get that melatonin
Yeah.
out the
Well,
sun.
it's 20 minutes unprotected and preferably with larger body parts exposed.
That's right.
So your back, your legs, but we're so concerned with sun. So I think that has something to do
So
with
my
it too.
ears.
And then so in Texas it's probably, and if you look across the southern states, you will typically see less vitamin D deficiencies than when you look up at the northern states, when you look at Canada, when you look at the Northwest, particularly where the sun
Right.
never shines up in Seattle.
Right.
Huge vitamin D. And they've linked the vitamin D deficiency now to all kinds of, MS and, all kinds of other things too.
Most of the people that we work with are executives or professionals. So they're
Mhm.
sitting at a desk all day,
Right.
Yep.
indoors, not.
Yeah.
I make a conscious effort to get up midday, afternoon, and walk 3 miles daily.
Wow.
Have to. That's not my workout. I call it my soul walk. And I
Right.
put in
Love
podcasts
that. Love that.
and or jams. I'm a big fan of music, and so I'll just walk. Takes me about 40 minutes.
What kind of music you listen to?
Yeah, we're big fans of music too.
I know you are. I mean, we could just throw a dart. There's no, I can't tell you. My favorite band of all time,
Liberace.
Yeah.
Beastie Boys.
Yeah.
Brass Monkey.
No sleep.
That funky monkey.
No sleep.
Layne, if and I'm gonna use my daughter's age. If the 16, almost 17-year-old Layne was sitting in here with you right now, what would she think?
Of me now, she'd be really proud. She'd be really proud. She'd be proud that I made it through and I'm still pushing and kicking. Yeah.
What advice would you give her, knowing what you know now?
That she is more important than the outside. That there's so much more to her than just the outside of her.
And I think, that message resonates with our daughters, right? We started off this podcast and I really meant what I said. It's so good to find women, leaders, living their passion, being their true self. I'm curious. It sounds like the pandemic, which we joke about, that there's no COVID in Texas, but it sounds to me like when the pandemic happened, COVID came in, you just still were doing your thing. Is that a fair statement?
Yes.
Or did it grow? Or
Yeah, we've seen significant growth.
can you share a little bit of why you think that is or how that happened? Because we have people who watch our podcast, and Handsome Dan and I were talking. We started off with this podcast thinking it would be, we feel like now that a lot of the feedback we're getting is like with businesses going, oh my gosh, so-and-so CEO was awesome about that, or that's a good point, or,
So I hired
What
a
do you-
coach,
Okay.
and I think business coaching I have a mass media communications degree with a minor in Spanish. Never ever was I set up to be a business owner and to have 10 people who look to me daily to say,
Right.
to lead. I think I've led forever. I mean, that's one of my spiritual gifts is leadership, but to lead a business is a whole different skill set.
Mhm.
And so I hired a coach,
Mhm.
and hiring that coach really helped me to put guardrails on what I was doing and how I was doing it.
Mhm.
And then after I finished with him, I hired a business advisor who is now my partner. And he has been really important in the growth of our company.
Yeah.
I now have systems. I have, standard operating procedures. I have things that I didn't have in the past. And I've still been able to persist with my message, which is true and authentic. And I think that resonates with people.
Absolutely.
And COVID really, unfortunately, made a lot of people overweight.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's what I was.
Yes. And so,
And vitamin D deficient because they didn't go outside. And
yeah, I mean, we spent hours on the mountain bike trails, me and my boys during COVID, hours on the trails. So we didn't, we don't have a vitamin D issue. But the point is that many people were inside and afraid.
Mhm.
And
Well, and anxiety
yeah,
was through the roof
that's right.
for I mean, I've never really experienced anxiety a lot in my life, I would say. I mean, everybody experiences anxiety. I never could relate it to that and never felt it in the way that I've felt
Mhm.
during what's going to happen with the business, what's going to happen with my employees that I'm having to furlough and lay off, what's going to happen with, from 7 different businesses. I think we had to furlough like 40 something people, for a few months, and some of them longer. And all of a sudden you're wondering like, okay, well, how are they going to feed their families? How are they, and all that kind of stuff. Then you're wondering, well, how am I going to feed my family? And then it's like,
Right.
So I think anxiety was through the roof.
So I'm going to tell you something, or I'm going to bring something to the forefront. When that is the case, people soothe with food or alcohol
Mm-hmm.
or porn or whatever, whatever their thing is.
Well, we were talking about that earlier, like control.
Yes.
And food we can control
Yes.
one way or another,
Yes.
whether it's too much or not enough. And when we're lacking control in our lives, we turn to food because we can control food or not control food. But the control part is probably related to the anxiety, OCD type, like, because that's where control really comes. If we're anxious, it's because we don't feel in control, right?
That's right.
And so if we're out of control, we're anxious. So if we're anxious, we want more control. And so then
It's fear-based.
Yeah.
It's all fear-based.
Well, and don't
thinking.
forget, 90% of people with depression have anxiety. 90% of people with depression have anxiety. So there's different types of anxiety as well, meaning my anxiety and what I feel is kind of what you were talking about, but there's different forms of anxiety.
That's right.
And it could be more of a withdrawn.
Yeah.
It could be more of a, and that's probably what they saw. I used the word accountability earlier. Is that fair to say with your coach and with your partner now?
Absolutely.
Isn't that great? And I have an account.
Yes.
I'm big on that word. I'm big with it with our podcast team. I'm big on it in my personal life, in my current role that I do for a company. I think accountability is the key. To get someone to buy into accountability has got to be the cool. I've had people do that in my life. To get someone to buy into that accountability has got to be the coolest thing. Do you have an example of someone who kind of got referred to you by a friend of a friend? Debbie, you would be awesome at this. This girl's awesome. Layne's awesome. You got to do it. And they're kind of like, I don't know. And then to see that growth and buy into
everyone.
accountability. Really?
Yes.
Everyone.
Everyone's nervous in the beginning. Like,
Okay.
Hey, I mean, I asked them, are you ready to get uncomfortable? That's one of the 3 questions I ask.
And that's what I ask on dates.
Yeah.
It's, but I do it in more of that, like, let's get ready to rumble voice.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You ready to get uncomfortable? Just kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
I don't date.
No, I mean, everybody is nervous.
Right.
Like, I will literally turn their world upside down. But that's what they need.
Comfortably uncomfortable.
Uncomfortably.
Love it.
Yeah.
Uncomfortably.
Love
This is not breeding ground for comfort. Like, if you are comfortable, you are not changing.
You're not growing.
No.
Yeah. Because
I
growth
believe
happens
that.
there. I'm going to tell you, I work with a coach. I work with a couple coaches, and I am a coach. I'm a business coach for other dentists. It was so stupid to me. And I think a lot of people have this mindset around coaching and it's probably more men based. I don't need that. I can't afford that. It's not worth the money. I can do it on my own. I know what I'm doing. I've read some books, that kind of thing. And I went through that. And, now I look back, I'm like, man, that was stupid. My coach is so fantastic. And we could put up links for her information maybe, but of course with your stuff too. But she has taken me from, in terms of life, business, through a divorce, through adding businesses, through new partnerships, new ventures, and all these things that she doesn't know about dentistry. She doesn't know about, a lot of the things that I'm doing, but she knows how to hold me accountable, and she knows how to get my brain thinking about the things that it should be thinking about. And that's really the power to that. And I would not be, we are leaps and bounds from a business standpoint, personal standpoint, where I'd ever be if I didn't have that coaching. And so when your clients are buying into that, it's just such a cool thing, the power that you have to be able to impact them.
I think the key, I was the same. I'm like, I can do this.
Yeah.
Look at all the stuff I've already done. I can do this by myself. I'm good. And it was expensive. It was an investment.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good word.
It was an investment. And I was like, oh gosh, I'm so scared. And, I haven't talked about this really, but I have not had a lot of support through Wealthy Soul. I haven't had a lot of people who are like, yeah, quit your corporate job. Good idea. Nobody did that for me. I had to kind of believe in myself. And this decision was the same. I did not have support on it. And I did it. And I wished I had done it sooner.
Yeah.
Sure.
Good coaching is worth every penny.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I sign up for your program, will I get you, Layne, or are y'all at the point where you have a team and you oversee it?
You get me.
Okay.
About 25% of it. And then I have a personal health advisor who works for me, who coaches all of the first phase clients.
Right.
And I take on clients who are annual clients.
Okay.
So I'm working with people who are more committed long-term,
Sure.
but then I still lead, our mastermind. I'm still checking in on a regular basis to our current clients who are in the transform phase.
What are the options when somebody, 2 questions. What are the typical people that are looking for your service, and what are the options that they have? You mentioned 8-week is sounds like the minimum, up to annual. Are there month by month in between? How do you work with people?
So if you are an executive over 40 years old, if you have a lot of responsibility, you might be a parent, you run a household, you also run a department or a business.
I think she just described me.
And you're overweight.
She said it, not me. She said it, not me.
Like, how overweight am I, Layne?
I don't know. Why don't you sign up for her class, fatty?
That came out wrong.
Oh man. Now I'm really I told you I'm a words of affirmation person.
Okay. I was describing the client.
Yeah, I know. It just sounded like you were describing me, and then okay, so all of those things. Yeah.
You would not. I mean, my clients not everybody is overweight. I will tell you.
As Brandon?
No, I was as overweight as I am.
I'm sorry.
Jeez.
That's my chicken exit. I do that all the time.
Yeah, and they want to change, and they want
Yeah.
to learn how to grow in self-confidence. They want to learn how to manage their time better.
Right.
That's my person, and typically they start with us in the 8-week program,
Okay.
and if they do well, we invite them to stay with us. And if they kind of slack off and it's not a good fit, it's quite obvious. There's a big energetic exchange between me and the client.
Mm-hmm.
And so if they're not giving back what I'm putting out, I really don't want to keep the relationship.
Yeah.
I agree.
That's fair, right?
Yeah,
Totally.
So
While we have you on the mic and while we're doing this, how can people find you? Websites, social media. I love your Instagram, by the way. Handsome Dan wants us to do TikTok so bad, and I just can't, but I love the way you do it. You can get away with it. But
Thanks.
how can people find you?
So you can go to wealthysoul.com, and it's spelled Well Thy Soul, which is the hymn that was playing at that camp when I rode up
Nice.
the ski lift with Alden, who now works for me, by the way.
That's
Right.
awesome.
Yes.
Okay. So they go to the
She went to A&M, and then she got out of school, and I hired her.
Yeah.
so Well Thy Soul.
Well Thy Soul is
Okay.
one way.
.com.
.com, thank you. They can find me on social media. I'm on Instagram. You can find Layne Bruner, which is my personal page. That's got my kids and stuff. And then you can also find Wealthy Soul.
Wealthy Soul.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can someone get you to come do a speaking engagement, motivational? Do you do that, or you just?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so you do.
So for the American Heart Association, I've been doing public speaking for them ever since. I mean, I was the featured survivor. I've done a lot of public speaking, so I'd
Good.
love to. Absolutely.
Okay.
Sweet.
That way, if someone that's watching this podcast, definitely you can reach out.
I saw something the other day, and I need to ask you a question relating to this on your Instagram page, which I don't look at that often.
I can't believe. I'm impressed you did.
I'm trying.
Right,
I'm
Handsome Dan?
really trying. My coach says if you want to grow your business, you need to be more active. I have Alyssa doing it for the most part.
He said it one. He goes, "My coach said I got to be more active,
Yeah.
so I have Alyssa doing
So
it."
Alyssa's doing it, checking in frequently.
That's his assistant.
I know, I've
she's
spoken to her.
she's worked with her.
She's an angel.
But I saw an Oreo cookie
Yes.
on your Instagram
I
page.
love that you gave yourself permit. That is awesome.
Tell me about Oreo cookies. Is that a typical
Did you not read her
I
caption?
did skim through it because
Oh.
I have an Oreo cookie problem.
Oh. Really?
No, I don't think you understand the extent of my problem.
Let's hear it.
I like to get Oreo cookies, and I like the double stuff
Okay.
personally, but any Oreo will do. And I pour up a big mug of milk,
Vitamin D.
vitamin D. Yeah.
Whole.
No. I like skim.
Okay.
1% is what I like. 1%. However, one time I was doing this, and Jenny came and got a cookie, and she dunks it in, and she goes, "This milk is really thick. What kind of milk is this?" I was like, "I don't know. It's just whatever in the freezer." And she opens the fridge, and it was
Expired.
heavy cream.
Oh.
I was just downing heavy cream, which maybe led to my extra pounds. So I get the Oreo and I open up the peel top, which was a great thing. Whoever engineered that thing was fantastic. And I grab 3 Oreos
Okay.
and I put them in my cup all at the same time.
Yes. So you dunk them and you let them settle so they soften.
A little bit.
Okay.
Immediately I grab my spoon and I fish out the first Oreo. So that first Oreo still got a little crisp to it. Then I have the middle Oreo, which is halfway there. The third Oreo is falling apart nice and soggy.
Which one do you choose? What's your favorite?
All of them. I like all of them, and that's why I do this. Then as soon as I put the third Oreo in my mouth with my spoon, I grab the next 3. And they do the same thing.
How many are we doing here?
Then I do the next 3.
Up to 9.
I do this until there's no more milk in the cup. And then by then, it's usually somewhere in the tune of like 27 Oreos.
That's a massive sugar spike.
It's huge.
And are you doing it before bed?
No, it's really any time that I have Oreos. So I try not to buy them, but sometimes the girls give them to me for my birthday. If I get like this year, I got 2 bags of Oreos on my birthday from the team. Thank God they love me and they know what I like. And I wish they wouldn't do this, but both bags, my birthdays, both bags were gone by the next day.
Okay, so if it's just on occasion, it's fine.
But it's
No,
not
don't
fine.
say
That's
that.
a
Hold
lot of
on,
Oreos.
hold on. No.
I want to say I do the exact same process.
The 3?
As many as can fit in whatever cup I'm using.
Yeah.
I'll put that amount and then let them soak and then eat them.
With a spoon.
Sometimes with a spoon, sometimes with my fingers. And
You get your fingers all milky?
sometimes I have a towel. Here's the thing.
I love that
I
that's
dry
the
it off
bad
every
thing.
time.
I love that that's the bad thing. You get your fingers milky?
Yeah.
But yeah, same. We have the same problem.
Man.
I do it with coconut gems too.
Oh,
I
man.
just don't get so
I don't know what that is.
They're like little sugar cookies that taste like
Yeah.
coconut. They're
Oh.
delicious.
I mean, so I buy Oreos for my kids every week. They're in my
Yeah.
pantry every week. And when I am, I mean, I've already told you, I've had a eating disorder. So I have a weird relationship with food.
Yeah.
And I typically don't. It's not that I think Oreos are bad and people shouldn't eat them unless they're trying to lose weight. And if they are, then they shouldn't.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
But if you are an average body composition and you're healthy, and it's fine. But for me, it's about stress and soothing.
Yeah.
So if I go to those, it's because I need to somehow soothe myself,
Yeah.
and I use food to do that.
But I loved what followed that, which is, but just because I did that today, I don't need to punish myself.
That's right.
Tomorrow.
So you did.
I
Thank you.
did
for-
read
okay.
That's
asshole.
the old behavior. That's
Yep.
the old.
You'd carry it with you. Just
That's
carry
the
it
old
with you
behaviors
first.
that I would have just spent hours working out the next day, and I would have only only had one meal, or half of a meal, and
Yeah.
only had just
Yeah.
disordered stuff. I don't do anymore.
What I do is I'm very rigid all year long until I go to Key West for a week, and then I just let it all hang out.
Which is coming up.
Are we talking about your penis again?
Yeah.
No, but thank you. But thank you. No, I didn't. I meant I eat whatever I want to eat. But thank you for that.
Sure. Anytime.
No, I have a relationship with food the same way that you did, kind of your upbringing. I still have issues of body dysmorphia.
Yep.
I'm never content. I'm not happy. I've learned as I've gotten older and through many therapy sessions and who I am, that I'm content. I don't beat myself up as much anymore. But I also have been blessed in a lot of ways where I don't have a sweet tooth. And any partner in my life has gone like, how do you not have I'd rather have seconds or thirds,
So you like salty?
I'm both. Well, yes, I do. But I also like to drink. And I know it's going to sound like I'm an alcoholic, but I think a glass of wine, I love red wine. Right. So I'm not saying I'm better than. I just don't have that love for pies or for Oreo cookies or for every once in a while, people who know me know I like, again, how cheating is this? Dark chocolate covered almonds on occasion.
There's nothing wrong with that.
That's what I'm
That's a
saying.
good
Like
thing.
it's kind of the healthy, but
got it.
does that make sense? So I don't have that. Doesn't mean I dive into other things. Probably drink too much coffee. But I'm at a phase in my life now through injuries, through surgeries, that I'm on something crazy. I just want to get your reaction to this. I do the carnivore diet.
Okay.
So I've been a straight carnivore, hot yoga, sauna, Don't lift weights, more on the stretching side, functional stretching and stuff that I find at my age and where I'm at in life is perfect for
Just
me.
functional. It's just functional for your body. We don't need to be massive. We don't need to be building mass anymore, in my opinion, not in our 40s.
Right.
Like, I think functional movement is the key.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. I've gotten into Pilates,
Yep.
what they call air or ground Pilates. And I find that has been, and so I was looking at a lot of your Instagram posts and stuff, and it's just so motivating.
Thank you.
How did I get on Instagram? I'm glad you asked.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
An incident happened in our
Started
family.
with a penis picture.
An incident happened, and I'm going to tie this all in. An incident happened within our family, and I'm just love my daughter to death. She is my number one. She is my world. And a therapist came to me and said, "What's your relationship with social media?" I was like, "Man, I'm not on anything. I don't care about that stuff." He goes, "But your daughter does, and her friends do." So I made a commitment, and I've been doing this for a while now. I think this is my third year, where the goal was, the guy challenged me that when my daughter opens up her Instagram, I'd be the first thing she sees. So at 4:00 every morning, I get up and I send a message to her. My title on it is influencer to a teenage daughter.
I saw that.
I had no idea that once we started the podcast, and then my boss, my current company, said, "You're getting on Facebook." I hadn't been on Facebook since 2009. I didn't realize that your messages that you put on
Instagram, go to Facebook
go
too.
to Facebook.
I do.
But the blessings that have happened from that are so cool. So I can only imagine how you must feel too with your messages and people writing you back. I mean, going back to what I was telling you earlier, knowing that I'm doing it for her, but that other people are being touched by just a message. They could be having a bad day and hear something positive that means a lot. And so I get it, like when I was looking at your stuff. And so thank you for accepting that I can follow you, that I like that. I like to be around that positive.
Yeah, your page is very much like that. It was similar when I was reading it. Like it resonated with me for sure.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I think being in, and this was part of my meditation today and part of the prayer work that I did today, being a leader, because you asked, that was one of the topics on your email yesterday when I was like, what are we talking about? I think being a leader goes back to being brave and being able to say the things that nobody wants to say, and being more vulnerable, and being available to be used.
Wow. I like that.
I think that's what being a leader is, just being available to me for God to use me in however he
Well, you
wants
definitely
to.
prove what a servant leadership is. Because you talked
Thanks.
about service, right?
That's right.
And I think in any industry that we're in, I think Brandon is. I think whenever and Handsome Dan is, like the goal of what we do here is to help, is to serve somebody.
Right.
What you do for a living. I am more thankful for Brandon than ever. I just had a root canal done. Like I'm so grateful for dentists and what a great gift that they have.
That's right.
That they do that. And I just want you to continue to just keep pressing on in any way that this podcast can support you. We will definitely have your links to the YouTube and everything, correct, Handsome Dan?
Right in the show notes, you can find everything.
Right in the show notes. And it has just been an honor to meet you. You're the very first Layne I've ever met that's a female.
Really?
Yeah. What was your joke? Do you mind telling her what you said behind her back when we were having Layne on
Now
the
to her
show?
face.
Yeah. What'd you say? You thought it'd be a 6'6"?
Oh yeah. Well, I'll tell you why.
Layne
It's because
Bruner.
my last business partner was a 6'6" Layne.
Oh,
Is
okay.
that, so that's why.
Yeah.
Did I
It's like-
disappoint you?
No, much better. Much better. Much better.
Yeah, Layne, I really appreciate you coming on today. Thanks for being here. Such a good message. I loved what you said, where nothing changes if you don't change your mindset.
I love it.
I think that's so important. Is getting that message out there that you can be healthier, you can succeed, you can be more healthy, more fit, but you've got to have the right mindset about it. And you're right. And it doesn't matter if it's business, it doesn't matter if it's health, it doesn't matter if it's parenting. It starts with your mindset.
That's right.
So,
And accountability.
And accountability.
Well, thank you so much. Grab your Yeti over there.
I'm
Thanks.
empty.
Thanks for having me, y'all.
Yep.
All right.
Thanks for being
Cheers.
here.
Thank
Cheers.
you for sleeping around with Dr. Brandon and Matthew Layne. Appreciate you.
I'm glad she says my Oreos aren't a problem.
As long as you love yourself, it's okay.
I love
not beat yourself up.
Well, as I'm doing it, I do not less love myself. That's the problem. I think that's where the
Yeah, I
I
mindset
love that you
is.
confess that.
Is as I'm doing it, I don't love
Layne,
myself, but then
I
I
do.
You get back on the.
I'm back on the love train after this.
And the moon is high. We'll be chasing stars